Sonic Superstars is the newest installment to the ever-growing Sonic franchise. More notably, it is the first 2D Sonic game since Sonic Mania, and we all had a lot of hopes for how well this game would turn out. This obviously is a spoiler warning because I'm going to review the entire game and share my thoughts about everything, including the story, level design, gameplay, value, and more. And if you love Sonic, subscribe right now. When it comes to the level design, they did a really good job with most levels having just the right amount of platforming and object placement, such as power-ups, rings, and enemies in each zone. The level design is extremely fast-paced and it's easy to blast through the levels really quickly. I really enjoyed the fact that there was a lot of different paths on each level, which means there was a lot of exploration and replayability built into the game. For example, there's many cases where you need to use the Emerald powers to access new areas of the zones. I was also concerned they would put too much excessive bloom like Sonic Colors, but the colorfulness and lighting of the stages were done perfectly, and the hub world was also a nice addition similar to the one from Sonic Generations. I was, however, disappointed that Sega lied to us about having all new levels. For example, the first level Bridge Island zone is basically Green Hill Zone with a different background and an orange checkerboard that is painted silver. The third level Sky Temple has too many similarities to Sky Sanctuary, especially the Axe boss battle, which looks like you are inside of a Sonic Generations Sky Sanctuary tower. Not to mention, it's just a little odd that a floating ruined city is the third level and happens to have Knuckles flying past you near the start of the zone. Sand Sanctuary Zone is designed in a desert theme that feels very similar to the Sonic 2006 Dusty Desert level. Most other levels seem to suggest that they were at least partially inspired by past Sonic games. The only real new levels were Lagoon City, which feels like you're playing in the lost city of Atlantis, Golden Capital, which is a challenge with all the lava near the end of the zone, and Cyber Station, which sends you into a world that looks like the inside of an early computer game where everything is extremely pixelated. When it comes to the boss battles, every single act has a boss fight, which is a bit excessive. The difficulty varies greatly, where some bosses are easy and take like 5 seconds to beat, while other bosses go on for several minutes and just take forever with all the various phases. There are even some levels where the boss fight uses up as much as half of the playtime in each level. I'm used to classic Sonic games where you fight a short boss and then go on to the next level without really slowing you down too much. Some bosses have long scenes where the boss just sits there in a spot and you cannot hit him, and these boss fights are more complex because in Sonic Superstars they have so much more platforming and tricks, but the Emerald powers do make some of them easier. When it comes to the physics of Sonic Superstars, it's almost as good as Sonic Mania physics, and it is very easy to keep Sonic's speed up as long as you know what platforms to jump on so you can run faster for longer periods of time through the game. And the spin dash has been nerfed and it does not have enough power, as well as the startup momentum is a bit slow, but once you get moving you can go pretty fast, as the physics do feel good and make the gameplay very fun. When it comes to the story, there's not too much of it. There is just a few simple cutscenes with no one talking. You have to kind of just infer and guess as what is going on in the story, and this is on par with past 2D Sonic games, but I think they could have done a better job explaining it. And it is mostly Dr. Eggman, Fang, and Trip trying to get the Chaos Emeralds, but Trip switches sides and helps Sonic defeat Dr. Eggman and Fang. When it comes to the gameplay, you have to beat all 11 zones and the final boss. From there, you unlock Trip's story and have to play the entire 11 zones and final boss again in hard mode. After that, if you have all 7 Chaos Emeralds, you unlock the Supersonic final boss. The music can often make or break your playing experience, and it starts out so good in the first 3 or 4 levels, but then it kinda just falls apart. And in fact, the music for the hub world is just a 6-second loop. I think that the music was made first, and then they started to remix and change too many aspects of it at the last minute. The special stages are a bit too easy, and all of them are nearly the same, where you're just spinning across objects to reach the Chaos Emeralds. The Emerald powers are extremely underutilized, except for a few cases in Trip's story, but they are very helpful in the boss battles, and they also brought back the Sonic 1 special stages, which are used to collect the medals, which can be used in the online battle mode to unlock more parts for customization of characters. I kind of wish we could play as the customizable character in the main game rather than just the battle mode. Online multiplayer is only in the battle mode, and they should have had that in the main game versus only having local co-op, but it does seem like the online battle mode works really good and is similar to the Sonic Forces mobile game. It was also very cool that there are time attacks for some levels, but I do feel as if that was underutilized and did not make too much sense to be in the game. One of the biggest concerns every Sonic fan has about a new Sonic game is the chance for bugs to ruin the game. Sonic Superstars is perhaps the most rounded out and polished Sonic game yet. There are hardly any bugs and everything simply works the way it is supposed to work. The only major issues I found is that the Pinball Carnival boss is busted when you play as Tails, and when you finish a level it is still possible to drown and you have to start the entire level again. Obviously Obviously, you can play as 5 different characters, being Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Trip. Sonic handles very well and is by far the best character to play as. Tails flying is about what I expected and is very similar to his controls in Sonic Frontiers. Knuckles' glide is a bit slow and he should have been more like he was in Sonic Adventure 2. Amy has the hammer but doesn't do much else, and Trip's wall climb and physics feel almost like Knuckles. Price of Sonic Superstars is $60, which is a lot for a 2D Sonic game. This is the same price that Sonic Frontiers was originally offered at, yet Sonic Superstars has much less content and will take far less time to beat the game. If you're a hardcore Sonic fan like me, then you should get it right away, but if you're kind of on the fence and not sure, I think that $60 is a bit too much, and there's no way the game is worth $60. I do think it's worth more like $40, and you might want to wait until it goes on sale. In conclusion, Sonic Superstars is a decent Sonic game, but far from perfect. The game did not live up to all my expectations, and Sonic Mania is still a slightly better 2D Sonic game. With respect to all Sonic games, I do have a strong bias of liking 3D Sonic much more than 2D Sonic, and Sonic Superstars is not the best and not the worst, but somewhere in the middle, and I would give it a 6 out of 10. Regardless, I would still highly recommend you giving the game a try because Sonic Superstars is a lot of fun to play. That's gonna do it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and remember, you gotta go fast!
Every night it just stays the same in my dream.